Thank you, everybody. It's so much fun to be able to meet with a Girl Scout troop like this in a virtual reality. And today we're going to be making origami cranes. Now, origami cranes are really nice because they're one of the most simple forms to make, and they start with what's called a bird base. So in origami, there are different starting points that we can make a form with. Some people call them models. Some people call them forms, object. It doesn't matter. And believe it or not, this Tyrannosaurus Rex started as the same shape as this crane. So maybe in the future, I'll teach you how to make the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Which is one of my favorites, and it baffles people that I can do this one from memory. Yes, from memory. Sushi chefs love it. I'm just saying. So the whole idea of paper started uh, a long, long time ago. Paper was first invented in China around 105 AD. It was probably a lot different than this. It was probably a lot thicker and a lot bumpier. And it was brought to Japan by monks in the 6th century. Handmade paper was a luxury item, only available to a few, most likely royalty and very high up people in society. And paper folding is an ancient Japanese art that was strictly for ceremonial purposes, often religious in nature. There's a show on PBS that you can look for called Between the Folds, and that's where that information came from. And then I have a little bit of information for you from Wikipedia also, and you can go there and learn about it. I will be giving all of this to you in a PDF, so you don't have to worry about writing it down. Senbazuru literally means 1,000 cranes in Japanese. And this grouping of origami paper cranes are traditionally held together by string. So you would poke a needle through the crane's belly to the back, and then they can stack right on top of each other. And often you'll see them in strands of rainbow colors, which is really fun. And there's an ancient Japanese legend that promises that anyone who folds 1,000 origami cranes will be granted a wish by the gods. Some stories believe that you're granted happiness or eternal luck instead of just one wish, such as long life or recovery from an illness or an injury. And this makes 1,000 cranes a very popular gift for special friends and family or your troop. The crane in Japan is one of the mystical or holy creatures. Others include dragon and tortoise. I personally very much love dragons and turtles as well. And it's said to live for 1,000 years. That's why 1,000 cranes are made, one for each year. In some stories, it's believed that 1,000 cranes must be completed within 1 year's time, and they must all be made by one person who is to make the wish in the end. So there's a little bit of cultural significance about it. There's a story about a person who was very sick and wanted to recover, and they made 1,000 cranes and they did recover. So there are some magical stories about them. Are you excited? Do you want to get going? Do you want to learn how to do it? All right, all right. Okay, so now I'm switching to the cam so you can see the paper. I'm going to move this crane and my T-Rex off to the side. And just choose one piece of paper. It doesn't matter what color it is. I'm going to choose green. I think that shows up nicely on the background of the desk for you. Now, notice on your paper, if you've got it this way, most basic origami paper has a color on one side and then is white or just plain on the other side. So we'll call it the color side and the other side, okay? We only have to think about this in the beginning. Remember that we're going to be making a bird base to start. So what I want you to do is just kind of get a feel for the paper with your fingers. Notice how thin it is. And we're going to start with the color side up. I like to put one of the corners facing away from me. So I'm sitting over here on this side and that's away from me. Doesn't matter, you can do it the other way around. And I want you to take the paper and you're going to fold it in half. Now, however that's easy for you, I like to use my fingernails to just kind of capture the edges of the paper and line up the 2 points. Then place your finger down on the 2 points to hold them and draw a line with your finger to crease the paper. Now, like that, you can start to go down along the edge of the paper and smooth it out and make a perfect diagonal line. How'd that work out? Give me a thumbs up if you've got it. Excellent. Well done. Now we're going to open it up and you'll find out that we open and close the form a lot, so you'll get used to it. Now we're going to do the same thing in the opposite direction. So with the crease line lined up with the center of us, we're going to fold it over again, match up those corners again, and do the same exact thing. I'm going to go ahead and put some of that background music on now, so we have a little atmosphere. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up that form, and now you should see your 2 perfect diagonal lines. You can hold it up to your camera and show me. That's amazing. You did fantastic. You're pros already. Okay, now we're going to turn it over. And we're going to make 2 lines again, but they're going to go in the opposite direction. We went diagonal, now we're going square. So fold the paper in half and line up the entire edge. So make sure your corners are lined up, because sometimes it wants to maybe bend a little bit, but because we had that diagonal line before, you can crease it and make sure the 2 arrows of the diagonals are perfect. And then holding on to the corners with fingers, slide down again. And now it should look something like this. And now we're going to go one more time, just like we did before, and make the opposite. So we're making a plus sign in the square now. So we've got an X and a plus sign, depending on how you hold the paper, how it's oriented. One more time, sliding down to the middle and creasing out to the sides. The beginning folds are always a little trickier because the paper's bigger and it doesn't necessarily want to do what we want it to do. Now, take a hold of the 2 edges and you can see it kind of wants to go 3-dimensional, and press it in, and you've got a dart. Do you see? It's like a dart. And then you can just fold 2 together and 2 together. So now we've got a smaller square. Let me know that that made sense to everybody. It looks like it. I'm seeing some. Excellent. Very well done. Now make sure the open edges are towards you when you place it down on the table again. So that's what I'm doing. Remember, I'm sitting over on this side. Okay, take a deep breath. You just did a bunch of folds, and that was really good. Remember, we're still working on making the bird base. Now, we've got 4 different pieces.
Can we just check in with Maddie and Skylar? I saw some thumbs down and some handshaking there.
Oh, okay, absolutely. You should be able to unmute them, Ginger.
Okay. Let's start with Skylar. Okay, Skylar, how are you doing, sweetheart? Let's show us what you have.
I just got to this.
Okay, you're doing great. Go ahead and make. Did you make both of the plus sign, or just one?
I see it.
Okay, so one is like this, and then you do the same thing so that you have it like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So you folded one side like this, just like you showed me. Now do the other side exactly the same.
Turn it 90 degrees. So if you did it this way, open it back up, turn it, and fold it the other way.
Okay. So I
Okay.
did.
You're going to turn it, and then you're going to fold it this way. Okay.
Ah.
See?
Okay.
Look, watch me. Turn it and fold it this way.
Okay, we're moving on. So now we're going to make a kite. Everybody, I'm sure you know what a kite looks like. It's kind of like a diamond, but not a perfect diamond. So we've got a flap and we've got a center line. We're going to take this edge, the open edge, and fold it in to the center line. So you want to line it up, and just like we did it before, pin it with one of your fingers and start to gently crease down, doing your best to get it nice and clean all the way to the bottom. And remember, this is your first one. If it's not super duper perfect, it's okay. It's your very first one. You're going to make 1,000. Okay? Is that making sense?
Can you redo that one more time, please?
Well, we're going to do it on all 4 edges, so don't worry. Okay? I'll do it upside down. So this is the open end. Does that make more sense with this at the bottom so it's towards you? I need to turn it towards me so I can do it. So we're going right into the center line and making a kite shape. Can you see the kite shape here? And you'll get another chance because we're going to do it on the other side. But I'll give you a moment to see how that's going. Okay, Joe, that's a different shape, I think. Joe's making his own origami. So let me get another one going in another color. So with the closed side of the dart pointing away from you, you're going to take the open end and go to the center line. Can you see that now? Does that make sense? And then you're going to do the same exact thing on the other side. Just keep breathing. When it gets a little tense, sometimes we hold our breath when we're not believing we're getting it. So it's so important to just keep breathing. Is that easier to see, everybody? And then we're going to flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. Is anybody getting it? Anybody figuring it out yet? Oh, I see some. Good. Excellent. Well done. Anybody need a little bit more help or a little more time? Skylar needs some help. Okay. So now we've all got a kite shape because we folded in all 4 of those open sides. And now this next one's really easy. Now we've got a line right across here. Everybody can see that line where there are 2 flaps folded in. You're going to crease it down there and then flip it over and do the same thing where these open ones are. It forms a line here. So we're just making a stress point in the paper. I'll do it again on the purple one. So where these open spots are, it makes a line. We're going to take this triangle and fold it down. And then we'll unfold it, turn it the other way, and fold it down. So we're getting the paper ready to do something really magical. I saw a couple rabbits earlier. We're doing a fold called the rabbit ear. So those of you who are bunny aficionados, this is your fold. Are we ready? Is everybody good? Ginger, are we good? Should I keep going? Okay. So now we're going to unfold one of the sides that we had the kite in. We're just opening it up, and we're going to gently find the opening of that side so we can see the white paper, and we're going to open it up and convince the paper to fold the other way on the creases we made. So it's almost like a boat now. Do you see that? So we're opening it up along those edges, and then it's going to fold in on both sides, right along the creases that we already had. So you shouldn't have to feel like you're forcing it, but you can see it. It looks very three-dimensional now. Now we have a real diamond. And then guess what? We're going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and do this one, and then I'll take a moment to help anybody who needs some help if it didn't make perfect sense, and I'll do it on the green one. Sometimes you have to kind of use your fingers inside the paper and convince it where you want it to fold, and remind it where the crease was on the other side. And it's okay to turn it around, and it doesn't have to stay a particular direction. And now you should have something that looks kind of like this. Yeah, I see it. I see it for some people. That's awesome. And you can kind of see inside there's a pyramid. And if we look at this crane, you can see I squished it in. So we're almost there. This is the crane's back right there. This is exciting. Should we take a pause, Ginger, or keep going? Okay. Opening up one of the kite sides. Opening up the top layer so we can see the white paper. We're using this line as the place where we're bending it. And now all these edges are going to fold into the center line here, using the creases that we already made to guide them. And then turning it over, doing the same thing on the other side. Where we had this little triangle, that's where we're going to open up, and that's going to fold the other way. So this line, we're folding here, and then all these lines that we have are going to fold in so that these edges end up right along the center line of the object. Hopefully that helped and made more sense this time. So one more time, everybody, what's happening here is we've got thicker, wider ones that go up, and that's where our triangle was that we pivoted on. We'll call that the top, even though I'm doing it side to side. And then we've got thinner ones, right? With the thinner ones, find the inside layer. And this edge along the thinner one's side, we're going to fold this edge into the center line. So it will look like this. And guess what? We'll do that on all 4 sides. And Ellie is now going to make 5,000 of these. Don't worry, Kate. One of us will come over when we're allowed to travel again. And we're going to do that on all 4 sides. Ellie, how fast can the 3 of you make all 10 cranes that you've got started? So we'll do the same thing on the other side. So what we did was we took the thin end and we folded in so this goes to that center line. This goes to the center line. And then we'll turn the entire form over, do the same thing. The smaller leg goes in. And now it looks like this. I'm going to do it one more time. So there's a thicker piece. Here's our triangle. Remember, that's going to be the back of the crane. And see how these are the wings? And what we're doing is we're working with this, the head and the tail right now. These are going to be the head and the tail. So with these thinner ones, we're folding this edge into the center and doing that on all 4 sides. Now that the paper's got more folds in it, you have to squish more. So now we're going to make the head and the tail. These are the wings, and this will be the back. These skinny ones will be the head and the tail. We're going to fold them up. Some people like to go straight up, some on an angle. I usually just let the paper decide. It doesn't matter if they're perfect and symmetrical because this will give your crane some personality. And then what I do is turn it over, unfold these, and then you want to crease against the same place. And it's a little bit thick now. So we almost have to massage the paper down to get it to fold the other way there. These are just guide folds right now. We're going to do another tricky kind of rabbit ear fold. Ginger, that looks almost like a hat, dinosaur hat. Okay, now this one is kind of like the rabbit ear a little bit. It's called a reverse fold. And what I'm doing is I'm opening up the object and I'm pushing the paper the other way. So this whole bit will become the inside. I'm going to squish the paper in on itself. So it just got half its size. So this is what it started like. Remember, we went both ways with that. Now we open it up and push it the other way. Push it up. Trying to get a better angle. So open it up. And this is going to be the inside line that it folds in on itself. Wow, it almost wants to make a head already on that side. So I think this will be the head side. Paper's telling me that. So now we've got a tail and a head, or a head and a tail, doesn't matter which is which. I'm going to make this one is going to be the head. So I'm just going to choose a place to put my finger inside and press the paper around my finger and then squeeze here. And it'll fold down. Boy, that looks like a sandhill crane. I saw them this morning when I went for a walk. This one just stays straight. It's the tail. And then you can fold these wings any which way you want. They can go on an angle or they can go straight. I'm going to go straight on this one. And then turn it over and do it on the other side. And this is the fun part, everybody. This is where you get to open it up. Now on that orange one, I squished the back in, but you can leave it pointy. Let's leave this one pointy. And there's your crane. So I'll do it again on the blue one. The thin sides are going to be the head and tail. So we've got to bend those up to get them ready to do a reverse fold. And then to make sure the paper will behave, we have to do the same exact fold on the other side. Then we open it up here and push the paper the other way, folding it in on itself. And then repeat it on the other side. Well, this one's already showing me where it wants the head. It happens that way. I wonder if anybody else experienced that. And then when we do this, we're making cheeks for the bird. Just by kind of squeezing in on the neck and letting the cheeks bend down. And the tail just stays. And then let's try bending the wings on an angle on this one. And open up. And they can do a crane hug. All right, that's the origami cranes. stay for questions. Thank you so much for the applause. It's been such a pleasure. I hope you had a great time, and I thank you all for being here.